Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has thrown his support behind a candidate announced for the by-election to be held in the southeastern Melbourne seat of Dunkley. Jody Balyaia is set to be endorsed by the Labor Party, although nominations still close tomorrow, I'm told. So I want to bring in our Sky News colleague, the former Labor Minister, Graham Richardson, for his analysis. Richo, great to have your time this morning. You've been listening in to the Prime Minister. Essentially, is this a bit of a captain's pick that he's put Jody Balyaia up as the candidate?
Yeah, it is a captain's pick, but I don't see anything wrong with that. I think he's a pretty good captain, and I think she's a pretty good pick.
This seat, Richo, it's an interesting one because from a state sense, it's swung Liberal and Labor. There's been a lot of controversy at the state level down in Frankston, and it's now swung Labor in the past 5 years or so. But given the cost of living crisis at the moment and other issues at play, is it one that the government shouldn't take for granted?
Oh no, you can't take it for granted. This is a pretty tough go. This, I mean, you do have conditions that are not necessarily conducive to everyone voting Labor. So I think the government's got to take it very seriously, and I'm sure they are. I think they've picked a pretty good candidate. It all looks good on the surface, and of course it's then a matter of how much time and effort Albo and Jim Chalmers primarily put into it.
And we've seen the Prime Minister down in the electorate this morning, sort of out on the hustings, trying to really get the jump on this. It's my understanding the Liberals will choose a candidate at a pre-selection on Saturday, and there's a few contenders for that. What would you be advising the Liberals if they were going to try and snatch this seat away from Labor?
Well, I think there's only one thing you can do, and that's campaign on cost of living. There's no great issue in Australia at the moment, and so when you've got no great issue, you go back to the issue that's always there, and that's cost of living. And there are some points that the Liberals can make that things aren't perfect. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. Dutton's he needs a win, or at least he needs a really good performance, because I know that a lot of his colleagues are looking at him closely. So he's got to get a good result for the Liberals in this by-election.
Melbourne hasn't really been a stronghold in the last year or so for the Liberals. They were supposed to, or at least they thought they were going to win Aston last year in March, and this is a seat probably only about 30 kilometres north of Dunkley. So does Peter Dutton have a lot to learn out of losing Aston with this upcoming by-election?
Oh yeah, I think there are lessons that he would have learned from that, but it's really I think of incredible importance to Dutton, because if there's a poor performance here, then there's every chance someone's going to have a crack at him. It's the polls are okay for the Liberals at the moment, but that often happens mid-terms. It's really quite normal. So I don't think anyone gets excited by that, but it does help Dutton a bit, and I guess he needs some help, and the best help he can get is a really good result here.